The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed like shattered glass under the sodium lamps, and I swear the thunderclap that rattled my apartment window was the universe cracking open. "Evan, you idiot. He's straight. Get a grip," I muttered to my reflection in the foggy mirror, but my heart hammered anyway as the doorbell buzzed like a live wire. I flung open the door, and there he was, Jack, soaked to the bone, his Amazon vest clinging like a second skin, holding my package with hands that trembled. Not from the cold, I told myself, but from something electric passing between us. Jack's eyes, those storm-gray pools I'd fantasized about for weeks, locked onto mine, and in that split second, the world narrowed to the space between our breaths. "This one's special," he said, voice rough as gravel, thrusting the box forward like it was a grenade about to pin. But as our fingers brushed, a slip of paper fluttered from the package, a handwritten note that read, "I can't pretend anymore. Meet me tonight," and my knees buckled because I knew, deep in my gut, that the delivery wasn't just mine. I crumpled the note in my fist, the ink smudging against my palm like a fresh bruise. Jack stood there, rain dripping from his dark curls, his broad shoulders heaving under the weight of that damn vest. Seattle's relentless drizzle had turned his usual easy grin into something raw, vulnerable, like he'd just run a marathon through his own secrets. "Evan," he said, the name slipping out like a confession. "I didn't mean for it to come like this. The package. It's not even yours. It's mine. For you." My apartment hallway felt too small, the fluorescent buzz overhead mocking the thunder rumbling outside. I'd ordered a stupid lamp from Amazon 3 days ago, some mid-century modern knockoff to light up my lonely evenings with bad rom-coms and cheaper wine. But Jack, he'd been my driver for months, the one constant in my chaotic freelance graphic design life. Every Tuesday and Friday, like clockwork, he'd show up at my door in Capitol Hill, flashing that dimpled smile that made my stomach flip. I'd tip extra, linger too long in small talk about the Mariners' losing streak or the best faux spots in the U District. Flirting, I guess, in that hopeless, one-sided way gay guys in their late 20s do when hope is a habit you can't quit. Now, here he was, uninvited and unmasked, holding a plain brown box the size of a hardcover novel. "What the hell, Jack?" I whispered, glancing down the empty hall as if my nosy neighbor misses. Hargrove might pop out with her Pomeranian and her judgments. "You can't just." "I know." He stepped closer, the scent of wet earth and his cheap cologne. Something woodsy, like pine after a storm, flooding my senses. His free hand ghosted my arm, a touch so light it burned. "But I saw your address pop up again today, and God, Evan, I've been driving myself crazy. Rerouting my deliveries just to see you. Writing that note 100 times in my head." His voice cracked, and up close, I saw the shadows under his eyes, the faint stubble shadowing his jaw. Jack Harlan, 29, ex-Marine turned gig worker, wasn't the unbreakable type I'd built him up to be. He was just a guy, frayed at the edges, like me. I snatched the box, our knuckles grazing again, and that spark, it wasn't static from the rain. It was alive, humming. "Inside," I said, jerking my head toward the door. "Before you drown or someone sees." My place was a mess. Sketchpads strewn across the coffee table, empty takeout containers from that Thai place on Pike, a half-dead ficus wilting in the corner. I shoved a pile of laundry off the couch as Jack hovered in the entryway, box clutched like a lifeline. He was taller than I remembered, 6 feet 2 inches to my 5 feet 10 inches, built like he could bench press regret. I watched the water pool at his feet, tracing the veins in his forearms as he set the package down. "Open it," he urged, eyes pleading. My hands shook as I tore the tape. Inside, a worn leather journal, pages yellowed and filled with cramped handwriting. Flipped it open, and there was my name, Evan Kessler, scrawled in blue ballpoint on the first page. Entries dated back months. Saw today. That laugh of his cuts through the traffic noise like sunlight. Drove past his building after shift. Lights on in the window. Wonder if he's alone. My breath hitched. This wasn't a crush. This was a chronicle, a map of stolen glances and what-ifs. Jack. This is... I looked up, and he was right there, close enough to kiss, his chest rising and falling in time with mine. The thunder rolled again, shaking the windows, and in that charged silence, he closed the gap. His lips crashed into mine, tasting of rain and desperation, hands cupping my face like I was porcelain about to shatter. Kissed back, hard, fingers tangling in his wet hair, the journal forgotten on the floor. It was messy, urgent, teeth clashing, breaths mingling, like we'd both been starving for this moment. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together. "I'm sorry," he murmured, thumb tracing my jaw. "I should have said something sooner. But my family's. They're from that old-school Baptist stock in Spokane. Dad's a cop. Mom's the church organist. Coming out? It's not just a word. It's war." I pulled him to the couch, our knees knocking as we sat. The rain pattered against the glass like impatient fingers. "Tell me," I said, because words were safer than the heat building between us. And he did. Jack spilled it all, the mandatory church youth group as a kid, the prayer circles for those unnatural feelings, the night he confessed to his older brother in a Spokane dive bar and got a black eye for it. Boot camp in the Marines had been his escape, camaraderie masking the loneliness, until a close call in Afghanistan made him question everything. Now, at 29, scraping by on delivery gigs after his honorable discharge, he was still running from the man in the mirror. "I saw you first delivery," he said, voice soft. "Month ago, that cookbook you ordered vegan stuff, right? You joked about burning water, and I thought, this guy's light. Real." His hand found mine, calluses rough against my smoother skin. "Felt like I'd been carrying packages my whole life. But yours? Yours I wanted to hold on to." We talked until the storm broke, dawn creeping in like a shy intruder. He crashed on my couch that night, vest draped over a chair, and I watched him sleep, chest rising steady, wondering if this was the start or just another delivery left at the wrong door. By morning, over black coffee and toast, we made promises, dinners, walks in Discovery Park. No more hiding. Jack kissed me goodbye at the door, lingering like he never wanted to leave. "See you soon," he whispered, and for the first time in years, I believed in soon. But Seattle's skies clear fast, and so do illusions. 2 weeks later, I was scrolling Instagram during a lull at my home office when a photo stopped me cold. Jack, arms slung around a woman blonde, laughing, in a sundress at some backyard barbecue. Caption: Family reunion vibes. Miss this crew. Spokane strong blessed. My stomach twisted. Was it a cousin? A friend? But the comments, "You two make such a cute couple," from his aunt, hit like a gut punch. Betrayal? Or just the ghost of his closet door slamming shut? I texted him, "Saw the pic. Who's she?" No reply. Hours ticked by, my sketches turning to scribbles, anger fermenting into doubt. When he finally showed, unannounced, package in hand, a real one this time, my new wireless earbuds, his face was ashen. "Evan, it's not," he started, but I cut him off, shoving the phone in his face. "Explain." My voice was steel, but inside, I was crumbling. "Her name's Riley. Ex from high school. We hooked up once. Last summer, when I was home. Drunk. Stupid. She thinks we're on again because Mom keeps pushing it. The photo? Mom posted it without asking. I swear, I'm done with that life." I wanted to believe him, but the seed of mistrust had taken root. We argued, raw, voices echoing off the brick walls, about trust, about the half-truths he'd fed me. "You think it's easy?" he shouted, pacing like a caged wolf. "Every time I leave here, I feel eyes on me. My route takes me past my parents' old neighborhood. What if they find out? What if I lose everything? And what about me?" I fired back, tears hot on my cheeks. "I'm all in, Jack. No half measures. If you're ashamed, I'm not." He grabbed my shoulders, pulling me close. "I love you, Evan." Terrifying as that is, the words hung there, a lifeline in the storm we brewed. We made up in the bedroom that night, bodies tangling slow and sweet, reaffirming what words couldn't. But as he slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling, wondering if love was enough to outrun the shadows chasing him. Summer hit Seattle like a freight train, humid, relentless, turning the city into a steam bath where tempers frayed faster than old jeans. Jack and I fell into a rhythm, the kind that feels like fate until it doesn't. Weekends were ours. Hikes up Rattlesnake Ledge at dawn, where we'd collapse at the summit, sweat slicked and laughing, sharing PB and JS and stolen kisses with the Olympic sprawling below. Evenings meant dive bars in Belltown, nursing IPAs while he sketched Marines on napkins, rough, heroic figures that mirrored the man I was falling for. "You're my anchor," he'd murmur into my neck as we tumbled into bed, the city lights painting our skin in neon. But anchors drag, too. Jack's shifts stretched longer, Amazon's algorithm a cruel taskmaster, routing him across the state. Texts grew sporadic, stuck in Tacoma traffic. "Miss you." I'd pace my apartment, the journal he'd given me now dog-eared on my nightstand, its pages a testament to his devotion. Yet doubt whispered, Riley's ghost, his family's pull. One muggy August night, I caved and drove to his place in Georgetown, a converted warehouse loft with exposed beams and the faint tang of motor oil from his beat-up Ford. He answered the door shirtless, surprise flickering across his face before melting into that grin. "Evan, what's up?" Inside, it was chaos. Duffel bags half-packed, a Seattle Sounders poster curling at the edges. We ended up on his fire escape, city hum below, passing a joint as fireflies, rare in the city, danced lazy in the dusk. "Spit it out," he said, exhaling smoke rings that dissolved like secrets. I hesitated. Then, "Your mom called the station last week. Dispatch patched it through to your phone. Said you missed a family wedding." Riley's cousins. Apparently, his jaw tightened, joint forgotten between his fingers. "She did what?" "Jesus." He stubbed it out, sparks scattering. "Evan, I told them I'm working doubles. The wedding's tomorrow in Spokane. Mom's been leaving voicemails, guilt-tripping about family duty. Dad's health is shit, prostate cancer scare, and they think Riley's the cure for my wild phase. Wild phase. The words tasted bitter. Is that what this is to them? Us? To them? Yeah. He raked a hand through his hair, the vulnerability cracking him open again. But not to me. Never. He pulled me onto his lap, straddling the iron railing, his warmth cutting the chill. We kissed there, slow and deep, the kind that erases maps. Come with me, he breathed against my lips. To Spokane. Show them. My heart stuttered. Jack. That's huge. Your family. Exactly. If we're doing this, let's do it right. No more half shadows. I said yes, because love makes fools of us all. The drive east was a blur of evergreens blurring into sagebrush, a 90 slicing through the Cascades like a vein. Jack's playlist, Springsteen, Johnny Cash, a smattering of Hosier, filled the silences, his hand heavy on my thigh. Spokane greeted us with dry heat and strip malls, a world away from Seattle's damp embrace. His childhood home squatted on a cul-de-sac in South Hill, ranch style, American flag limp on the porch, rosebushes his mom tended like altars. The wedding was at a VFW hall downtown, balloons bobbing like buoys in the AC-chilled air. Jack's clan was a sea of flannel and khakis, uncles with beer guts, aunts with perms, cousins wrangling toddlers. Riley was there, resplendent in emerald silk, her laugh tinkling like wind chimes as she air-kissed cheeks. She clocked Jack immediately, gliding over with a flute of champagne. Jackie, you made it. Her eyes slid to me, curious but cool. And who's this? Evan, Jack said, arm slipping possessive around my waist. My partner. The word landed like a stone in still water, ripples of silence, then murmurs. Riley's smile froze, brittle as spun sugar. Partner? Oh. Honey, that's progressive. She recovered with a pat on his arm, but her gaze lingered on me, assessing, like I was a knockoff purse. Dinner was a minefield. Seated at a table with Jack's brother, Mike, a burly cop like their dad, mustache twitching over his scotch. Conversation veered to the good old days. Remember that time you and Riley snuck Boone's farm behind the bleachers? Mike chuckled, clapping Jack's back. Jack stiffened, his fork scraping china. Ancient history. Bro. I squeezed his knee under the table, but the knot in my gut tightened. His mom, Dolores, a wiry woman with Bible verse earrings, leaned in during cake service. Jack's told us so much about you, Evan. Graphic design, that's creative. We pray for guidance in these modern times. Her smile was kind, but her eyes, steely as their father's, held the weight of unspoken sermons. Jack excused us early, claiming fatigue. In the parking lot, under a canopy of stars sharper than Seattle's, he lit a cigarette, habit he swore off for me, and exhaled shakily. That was hell. But you were my light in there. We made love in the Ford, backseat fogging with our breaths, urgent and affirming, the distant twang of country music from the hall fading into our rhythm. The fallout hit on the drive back. Mike called Jack's phone, speaker blaring. What the fuck? Man? Partner? Mom's crying. Dad's popping nitroglycerin. You trying to kill them? Jack gripped the wheel white-knuckled, merging onto the highway as rain. Sudden, biblical lashed the windshield. It's my life. Mike. Back off. Your life? We're family. That fag parade bullshit. Enough, Jack roared, veering onto the shoulder, tires screeching. I braced against the dash, heart in my throat. He hung up, phone shattering against the dash. Silence swallowed us, broken only by wiper slapping. "I'm sorry," he whispered finally, head dropping to the wheel. I thought. I don't know. We limped home, the spark between us flickering. Days blurred into avoidance, him pulling extra shifts, me burying in deadlines. Then, the betrayal. A knock at midnight, not Jack's confident rap, but hesitant. I opened to Riley, drenched from the ferry, eyes red-rimmed. "Evan?" I flew in. "We need to talk." She pushed past, dripping on my rug, clutching a manila envelope. "Jack didn't tell you, did he? About the engagement." Photos spilled out, him and her, ring glinting, time-stamped last Christmas. "He said it was a mistake, but Mom showed me the emails. He's been stringing you along, playing both sides." My world tilted. "No. That's not." "Check his phone." She thrust hers at me. Screenshots of texts. "Can't wait to make it official, babe. For the family." Dated last week. Nausea roiled. When Jack showed hours later, reeking of bourbon, I hurled the prints at him. Liar. The fight was volcanic, accusations flying, furniture toppling. "I did it for peace," he sobbed, on his knees. "To buy time. I love you, Evan." "Love." I laughed. Hollow. "That's not love. That's cowardice." He left at dawn, tail lights vanishing into fog, taking my heart in his rearview. Weeks later, hollowed out, I boxed his journal, ready to ship it back. But a note fell. "You're the package I never knew I needed." "Forgive me?" Tears blurred the ink. Was it enough? Autumn stripped Seattle bare, leaves carpeting the sidewalks in crimson and gold, mirroring the raw ache in my chest. Freelance dried up, clients ghosting emails, my designs turning abstract, all jagged lines and shadowed figures. Friends dragged me to gay nights at Numos, pulsing bass and strobe lights a poor anesthetic. But I'd nurse a gin and tonic in the corner, scanning faces for one that wasn't his. Jack's absence was a phantom limb, throbbing at odd hours. A delivery truck rumbling by, the scent of pine on a barista's apron. I caved one rainy Tuesday, ordering takeout from that faux spot we'd loved, beef brisket, extra basil, a masochistic echo of better days. The driver wasn't him, some kid with earbuds and a nod, but as I signed the slip, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "It's me. Can we talk?" Coffee. Neutral ground. Against every screaming instinct, I agreed. Elliott Bay Book Company, that cathedral of shelves in Pioneer Square, felt safe, surrounded by strangers and stories that ended better than ours. Jack waited at a corner table, hood up against the chill, 2 lattes steaming between calloused hands. He'd lost weight, cheeks hollowed, that marine bulk softened to something fragile. "Evan," he started, voice gravel from disuse. "You look good." "Liar." I slid into the seat, arms crossed like armor. The espresso machine hissed, a punctuation to the tension. "What do you want, Jack? Closure? Another round of I'm sorry?" He pushed a napkin across, folded, precise. Unfolded it, a printed email chain, his replies to Riley in black and white. Told her it's over. For good. Sent it last night. Then, softer. And this, he slid a smaller envelope, my name in his looping script. Inside a key. taped to a photo booth strip from the county fair, us, last summer, crammed in a booth, faces pressed close, laughing at the distorted lens. I kept driving, he said, eyes down. After you kicked me out. Took routes up to the San Juans, ferrying packages to nowhere. Thought about enlisting again, disappearing into uniform. But every mile, it was your face in the windshield. Your voice in the static. I traced the key to what? His loft. Why now? Because I'm done running. He leaned forward, elbows on the scarred wood table. Quit Amazon last week. Enrolled in community college, graphic design, like you. Night classes. And therapy. Group for vets. Queer ones. Turns out, I'm not the only ghost in the machine. The admission cracked something in me. Relief. Wariness. A spark. We walked the waterfront after. Gulls wheeling overhead. The Ferris wheel's lights winking on the pier. He talked, really talked, about the betrayal's roots. His dad's belt for sissy tears at 10. Mike's wedding toast mocking, confirmed bachelors. I thought faking it with Riley would shield them from the truth. From me hurting them. But it was me I was killing. I stopped under the pergola, salt wind whipping my scarf. You hurt me, Jack. Bad. I know. He cupped my face, thumbs brushing tears I hadn't noticed. Let me make it right. Slow. No pressure. We started over, tentative as spring shoots. Coffee dates bleeding into movie nights, his pick, Brokeback Mountain, both of us silent through the ending, hands clasped tight. He moved back to Georgetown, but I visited, cooking vegan stir-fries on his hot plate, laughing at his charcoal sketches of us as superheroes, him as Captain Delivery, me as Pixel Man. Thanksgiving loomed, a minefield of turkey and tension. Come home with me, he said one night, tangled in sheets, his breath warm on my shoulder. To Spokane. Show them the man I love. I balked. Last time nearly broke us. This time, it's different. I'm different. His eyes, earnest in the lamplight, held a quiet steel. Or we stay stuck in this half-life. I went. The drive was quieter, his hand steady on mine over the passes. Dolores answered the door in an apron dusted with flour, surprise softening her edges. Jack. Evan. No embrace, but no frost either. Inside, the house smelled of sage and pie, his dad's recliner empty, a hospital bracelet on the side table. Dinner was strained, Mike absent, shift. Aunts probing politely about Evan's line of work. Jack cleared his throat midway through mashed potatoes. Mom. Dad, Evan's more than a friend. He's my partner. The one. Dolores's fork paused. Eyes flicking to his father, stooped. Oxygen tube whispering. Tom Harlan cleared his throat. A rumble like distant thunder. Son. We've talked. Pastor says forgiveness is key. He extended a hand across the turkey carcass. Gnarled fingers steady. Welcome, Evan. It wasn't a parade, but it was progress, a crack in the fortress. We left with pie tins and a promise. Christmas, if I wanted. On the road back, Jack pulled over at a viewpoints. Stars carpeted the sky. Thank you, he whispered, kissing me deep, the world vast and kind below. But winter brought wolves. December 15th. Jack's phone rang during our tree trimming. Me untangling lights, him humming carols off-key. It was Mike. Dad's gone. Heart attack. Get home. The funeral was a blur of black wool and casseroles. Spokane's gray skies weeping in solidarity. Jack stood ramrod at the graveside, uniform crisp, eulogy choked. He taught me duty, strength. Afterward, in the church basement, Riley cornered me by the coffee urn. "He'll come back," she hissed, breath sour with grief and gin. "Always does. Family first." Her words festered. That night, in his childhood twin bed me spooned against him, his sobs muffled in my hair. He whispered, "Don't leave. Please." "I won't." I lied, because doubt is a thief in the dark. Climax brewed on New Year's Eve. We'd planned a quiet night, fireplace, champagne, resolutions whispered at midnight. But Jack vanished mid-afternoon. Text, "Family thing. Back soon." Hours ticked. My calls to voicemail. At 11:55, panic clawed, I drove to the VFW, tires spinning on ice, heart a drum. There he was, in the hall, Riley draped over him, Mike clapping his back, a circle of relatives toasting to Tom, and new beginnings. Jack's eyes met mine across the smoke, horror dawning. He broke free, chasing me into the lot. "Evan, wait," I whirled, snow stinging my face. New beginnings? With her? After everything? No, God. No. He grabbed my arm, breath fogging. "Mike ambushed me. Said Dad's will has a clause disinherits if I'm living in sin. Riley's here to fix it." I was buying time. Stalling. I shoved him, chest heaving. "That's your answer? Lies for inheritance? I thought we were building something real. It's not about the money, it's them. Keeping the house, the memories." Tears tracked his cheeks, freezing in the cold. "But you're right. I'm poison." He crumpled to the snow, and something in me shattered. I knelt, pulling him close, our coats whispering. "Not poison. Scared. But we can't keep this cycle." Fireworks bloomed overhead, countdown echoing distant. At midnight, I kissed him salt and sorrow. "Choose, Jack. Or the ghosts." The choice hung like frost on the evergreens as we drove back to Seattle, wipers batting away the flurries, radio murmuring Springsteen's Thunder Road, like a dirge. Jack's silence was a wall, brick by regret, and I stared out at the black ribbon of highway, replaying the VFW scene, Riley's triumphant smirk, Mike's meaty arm around his shoulders, the relatives' averted eyes. "I choose you," he'd said finally, voice small in the truck cab. "Always have, but words are cheap in the hangover of midnight." January dragged, gray and unforgiving, my apartment a bunker of takeout boxes and unfinished briefs. Jack threw himself into classes, life drawing at Seattle Central, where he'd text me selfies of smudged charcoal hands and lopsided nudes. "Your turn to pose," he'd tease, and I'd laugh, the sound rusty but real. We rebuilt brick by tentative brick, therapy sessions together, his vet group welcoming me with nods and bad coffee, walks in Green Lake, feeding ducks stale bread while he confessed boyhood crushes on the quarterback, buried under football pads. One Sunday, grease spattered in my kitchen, he flipped pancakes, burnt edges and all while I scrolled freelance gigs. "Got an interview," I said, casual. "Adobe contract. Downtown. Big bucks." His spatula paused. "That's huge, babe. Proud of you." But his eyes shadowed. And later, tangled in sheets, he admitted, "Dad's estate settled. Mike got the house. I got a check and a prayer list. Feels like failure." I traced the dog tags he still wore. Cool metal under my fingers. Failure's not fighting for this. I gestured between us. The rumpled duvet our kingdom. For us. February bloomed tentative. Valentine's at a hole-in-the-wall Italian joint in Capitol Hill. Candlelight flickering on Chianti glasses. He gifted me a sketch. Us on that fire escape. Smoke curling like question marks. Titled Home. I gave him a custom phone case. Our photo booth strip etched in laser. Indestructible. No more running, I whispered. Toasting. But spring uncoils secrets, and ours slithered back with cherry blossoms. Mid-March. Jack's phone lit up during a Mariners game. Us in the cheap seats. Hot dogs dripping mustard. The crack of bats a heartbeat. It was Dolores. Come home, son. Riley's pregnant. Says it's yours. The stadium roar faded to a buzz. Jack's face drained. Beer forgotten. What? No, impossible. He bolted for the concourse. Me trailing. Heart jackhammering. Voicemail played on speaker, her voice. Tear-choked. Jackie. I know we said it was one time, but the timing. Mom's devastated. We can make this work. For the baby. I leaned against a concrete pillar. World spinning. One time. Echo of his old lies. Last summer, he stammered. Pacing. Before us. Before the note. I was blackout. Blackout or not. Jack. That's a child. Nausea rose. Bile sharp. And you never told me. Because it wasn't relevant. Tess said negative, her period. The math. She ghosted after. His hands fisted in his hair. Evan. Please. The crowd surged for the seventh-inning stretch. Sweeping us apart. I wandered the lot alone. Rain starting again. Seattle's spite. He found me at the truck. Soaked and shaking. I love you, he pleaded. Rain sheeting his face. This changes nothing. Everything, I choked. Go. Figure it out. Be here. Or not. He left for Spokane at dawn. Duffel slung over his shoulder. A ghost in gray sweats. Days blurred into weeks. Me ghost designing logos for faceless core. Nights scrolling his sparse texts. Paternity test scheduled. She's keeping it. Regardless. Miss you like air. April's sun mocked my gloom. Tulips rioting in the parks while I withered. Friends staged an intervention at a Capitol Hill brunch, mimosas and tough love. He's a mess. Evan, my bestie Lila said, artist nails tapping her glass. But you're not his fixer. Walk. I almost did. Packed his journal. The key. A Dear John note. Some deliveries can't be returned. But as I sealed the box, tears spotting the tape, the door buzzed. Not Amazon, him. Jack. Hollow-eyed. Flannel rumpled. Holding a manila folder like a shield. Negative, he said, collapsing onto the stoop. Not mine. Some guys from her office fling. Laughter bubbled. Manic. Then sobs. I pulled him inside. Arms wrapping tight. The folder scattering papers. Test results. Ultrasound grainy and irrelevant. We cried then. Raw and releasing. Bodies folding on the rug. I thought I'd lost you, he gasped. Face buried in my neck. You almost did. I held him fiercer. No more secrets. Ever. Summer redux. Hotter. Wiser. We moved in together, his loft. My sketches mingling with his charcoals on the walls. Pride weekend. We marched hand in hand down 4th Avenue. Rainbows on our sleeves. his voice hoarse, chanting, "Love is love." Dolores sent a card, stiff, but signed with prayers. Mom. Progress. Climax crested in July. Heat wave baking the city. Jack's exhibition, first, at a U-District gallery, drew a crowd, vets in tees, my clients sipping Pinot, even Mike, mustache trimmed, hovering awkward by the cheese board. The centerpiece, a triptych of us. Deliverance, he called it, first panel, shadowed figures in rain, middle, fractured mirrors reflecting half-faces. Final, entwined silhouettes against a dawn skyline, unbroken. Riley showed, uninvited, belly swelling under a sundress, arm linked with a nervous suit. Whispers rippled. She approached during the toast, eyes on the art. "Beautiful," she said to Jack, voice tight. "He's lucky." To me, "Take care of him. For real this time. No venom, just weariness." As she left, Jack turned to the room, Mike trembling. "This, gesturing the canvas, is my truth. Lost my dad to silence. Almost lost Evan to fear. But love, it's the package worth every detour." Applause thundered, Mike clapping slowest, a nod my way. Later, in the loft, bodies slick and celebrating, he whispered against my skin, "You're my forever delivery," but August whispered warnings. A letter arrived, certified, from Spokane, estate lawyers, contesting Jack's share on moral grounds. Mike's doing, fingerprints all over. "They want to bury us," Jack snarled, crumpling it. "Then we fight," I said, fire in my veins. "Lawyers," peals our battle cry. Fall returned, leaves a fiery carpet underfoot. But our autumn was tempered steel, resilient, gleaming. The legal skirmish dragged into October. Depositions in a sterile Tacoma office where suits dissected Jack's life like a frog in bio class. Discharge papers, therapy notes redacted. Riley's affidavit swearing she'd tried to save him. Mike testified via video. Face florid. Family values. Your Honor. Can't let sin inherit Dad's legacy. Jack gripped my hand under the table, knuckles bone white. "It's not about money," he murmured. "It's punishment." I squeezed back. Our rings, simple titanium bands from a Pike Place jeweler, clinking like talismans. The judge ruled mid-November. Inheritance split even. No clause supersedes blood. Mike's appeal loomed, but victory tasted sweet. Pie from Dolores. Surprisingly, mailed with a note. "Proud of your fight, son. Prayers for peace." We framed it beside the triptych, a mosaic of scars and stars. Winter wrapped us gentle this time. Christmas in the loft. A Charlie Brown tree strung with delivery tags, ornaments of sketched memories. Jack proposed on Christmas Eve on one knee by the fire escape. Ring box wrapped like a package. Tag reading special delivery. "Will you?" I said yes through tears. The city a sparkle below. Our breaths fogging the glass as we called Lila. Then Brave, his mom. "Congratulations," Dolores said. Pause heavy. "Evan's a good man. Bring him home sometime." Spring 2026 dawned electric. Jack graduated. Portfolio bursting. Designs for queer vet nonprofits. Murals for pride. I landed a full-time gig at a Rainier Valley agency. Remote days bleeding into collaborative nights. Our kitchen table a war zone of laptops and Thai leftovers. Vacations beckoned. A road trip down the Oregon coast. Highway 101 curving like a lover's spine. Stopping at Cannon Beach to write our names in the sand. Waves erasing but etching deeper. Conflict's embers flared once more. Summer solstice. Mike showed unannounced, beefier, brow furrowed, beer in hand on our stoop. Truce? He grunted, thrusting a six-pack. Inside, over IPAs, he thawed, Dad's ring. For your wedding. Gold band. Engraved. Forever faithful. He'd want you to have it. Despite everything. Jack's eyes welled. Why now? Mike shrugged, mustache twitching. Saw your exhibit online. That painting hit home. We're brothers, Jack. Blood's thicker, but love. That's the real chain. Hugs were awkward, backslapping, but real, a bridge over the chasm. Our wedding was small, humanistic, July 4th weekend, backyard of a Fremont park, fireworks as confetti. Vows under a willow, Jack's voice steady. You delivered me from shadows, Evan. I promise light, every detour, mine. You're my route home, Jack. No returns. Rings exchanged, his dad's on his thumb. A talisman. Sealed with a kiss that tasted of freedom, salt, and sparkler smoke. Guests mingled. Lila DJing indie folk. Vets toasting with non-alcoholic cheers. Dolores in the front row. Hanky dabbing. Riley absent but a card arriving. Wishing you both the happiness I couldn't give. Mike danced with a cousin. Grin wide. Honeymoon in the San Juans. Ferry to Orcas Island. Cabin by the sea. Days kayaking emerald inlets. Nights on the porch. Stars a canopy. His head on my chest. Think we'll make it? He asked once. Vulnerability peaking. I kissed his temple. We already have. Every storm. Every package. Years unspooled like thread. His mural commissions blooming across the city. Queer icons on brick walls. Stories in spray paint. My designs went viral. A campaign for inclusive lit earning TEDx nods. We adopted a mutt from the shelter, rusty, all wiry fur and wagging betrayal forgiveness. Family grew. Dolores visiting for brunches. Her potato salad a peace offering. Mike's kids calling Jack Uncle Jay, tumbling in for Sounders games. Betrayals faded to footnotes. Conflicts to campfire tales, how the delivery boy stole a heart. How love routed through detours to home. 35. Toasting anniversaries with craft cider on that same fire escape. Jack sketches us still. Grayer temples. Laugh lines etched. But hands entwined. Unbreakable. In the end, it's not the drama that defines us, but the quiet deliveries, the notes slipped in pockets, the glances across crowded rooms, the choice, daily, to unpack the mess and build something true. Seattle rains on, but we're the sun breaks, golden and endless.